Oh, here we go.
Call tonight's council meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Council members Costello,
Here.
Jameson,
Here.
Knutson, here, Litz,
Here.
Staggers,
Present.
Anderson,
Here.
Benega,
Here.
Brown.
Here. Quorum present. For tonight, the invocation will be led by Deacon Arlene Pearsall from Calvary Episcopal Cathedral in Sioux Falls. After the invocation, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. So at this time, I'd ask everyone to please rise.
Mr. Mayor, council members, and all others present, I will first share a short one-minute story from the Old Testament and then conclude with prayer. The book of Numbers in the Old Testament tells the story of Balaam, a reluctant agent of God's purposes who is hindered from doing the wrong thing when his donkey refuses to move forward because he sees an angel of the Lord blocking the road. His master doesn't see the angel. In his frustration, Balaam strikes the donkey with his staff. To Balaam's surprise, the donkey turns his head and asks, "What have I done to you that you have struck me 3 times? Am I not your donkey, which you have ridden all your life?" In Balaam's treatment of his donkey, we see something of ourselves. It is easy to be reverent to an angel of the Lord, but harder to be respectful of a service animal. The story of Balaam serves as a reminder that sometimes it takes a donkey to teach us that what matters is how we respect the dignity of those with no power, status, or wealth. Let us pray. O Lord, our governor, bless the leaders of our city, that we may be a people at peace among ourselves and a blessing to the surrounding communities. To all in administrative authority, grant wisdom and grace in the exercise of their duties. Give them courage and foresight to provide for the needs of their people and fulfill their obligations in the community. Give them also understanding and integrity that human rights may be safeguarded and justice served. Teach us all to rely on your strength and to serve you faithfully in our generation. And finally, send down upon those who hold office in our city council the spirit of wisdom and charity, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve in their offices to promote the well-being of all people. This we ask in the name of our Creator and Maker. Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight, it's my pleasure to really honor some folks that really helped us make a difference. This 4th of July, we had another really a good crowd. Over 5,000 people came to the picnic, 4th of July picnic down at the falls today, or this year. And really, it wouldn't be possible if we didn't have people that volunteered and the people that really stepped up and really helped sponsor this great event. And so what we'd like to do tonight is I call your organization up. If you just come up and we have a plaque that we'd like to give you and thank you for what you did to really help make it a truly memorable 4th of July. Sunshine Food. So here's. We really appreciate Sunshine. John Morrell, is there somebody here for John Morrell? Not, they called and said they may not, so we'll get that to them. South Dakota Pork Producers. Not, we'll get that to them as well. Is there Novak Sanitary Service? Butch, we have you. Thanks, Butch. Land O'Lakes. Not, we'll get that to them as well. And the Civil Air Patrol. Thank you. Thanks, Chief. Could we give those folks a round of applause for that? Okay, we'll get started on the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I so move. Knutson.
Knutson moves. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Litz seconded. Further comments on our motion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the consent agenda, vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Council members Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Knutson. Yes. Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
All members present voted. Consent agenda has been approved 8-0. Is there a motion to approve the regular agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I moved.
Okay, Staggers moved.
Second.
Anderson seconded. Any other motions?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we move item 35, public hearing for public input regarding adoption of the 2009-2013 capital program, item 35, after item 23.
And I would like to second that motion, Knutson.
Okay, hang tight here. You want to move it to just above 23?
After 23.
After 23, okay, just before 24, okay, we will. That's your motion. Is there any other questions on that motion? If not, all in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
That motion has been approved 8-0. Any other motions on the regular agenda? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the regular agenda as amended will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Regular agenda has been approved 8-0 as amended. Let's move to item 6. This, we got this. Anyone wishing to address the council for a period of 5 minutes, at this time we'd ask them to come forward and we'd ask for their name and their address, please.
My name is Cheryl Rath, and I live at 1709 East Fair Lane. This input is about CityLink, and I first have to say that I'm a big fan of CityLink. At the CIP hearings last week, Mr. Litz announced at both sessions that those budget hearings would be rebroadcast consecutively at 5 p.m. on Friday evening and at 10 a.m. on Sunday. At 5 p.m. on Friday, I went to CityLink. It was not rebroadcast. And I checked back periodically to see if they started it late, perhaps. So then I thought, well, Sunday, I'll watch it. I went to CityLink at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. It wasn't there. There was regular programming throughout all of those times. I don't know who is accountable for CityLink.
We'll find out and find out what if there was timing differences and get back to you, Cheryl, on that.
Because, there were citizens waiting and checking in, both at 5 and 10. The other concern I have is that I was not able to come to the informational meeting last week, and so I turned it on at 6 on Saturday when it's scheduled to be rebroadcast, and for 45 minutes there was a blank blue screen. And then they showed approximately the last 15 minutes of the informational meeting. Then I had missed part of the council meeting last week, so I started to watch that, and everyone who was here is aware that there was a confrontation with a citizen at that meeting. As I watched this, and you had asked the officer to come forward to the podium, they actually bleeped that out. There was an audible bleep during that time. And I don't understand that.
Well, we'll check into it for you, and then the council meetings on Granicus that you have it, and then there's webcasts set on the CIP, so we'll
But
find
not
out.
everyone has access to a computer,
We'll
and
find, I'll
I'm
find
one of
out.
those people.
I'll find out on the timing. We'll get back to you. on
Okay.
that.
And then how will you make it known to the public when it will be rebroadcast?
We can put that. I think we can put that on the on Channel 16 and just tell about broadcast. Maybe we can play it over and over. I'll find out what we can
Okay.
do.
And so you will get back to
Yep,
me?
we'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Cheryl, I apologize for that. I do what I'm told. It doesn't keep me
Well,
out of trouble at home all the time, and it doesn't work down
Yeah,
here either. So.
and I understand you don't run CityLink,
We'll
but
find out
it was
about
very
that.
frustrating.
Very good. I'm embarrassed about that. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Others, name and address, please.
Hello, I'm Roger Algersma, address 3504 South Alpine Avenue. I'm talking about the proposal to raise the sales tax, look at both where the money comes from and where the money would go to. With the change in the sales tax on food, instead of just doing it in one step, the legislature decided to spread things out. So if this sales tax increase goes through, if you look from beginning to end, the sales tax and everything else is going to be the same, and this is really the actual tax raise, which raises the tax on food compared to everything else. So I don't like the idea of taxing food, and to break it up in various steps just to make it seem different or more palatable, I don't think it really changes what happens. As far as using the money to build new streets, like I said before, once the CIP seemed to have it planned ahead, but I think that there are not going to be as many new streets in the next 5 years as might have looked like. Primarily, new streets are built where the new houses are built, and with a 40% drop approximately in the new houses being built, it's no less than we had 10 years ago. But the boom has passed, and so if the city's growing slower, two reasons for that. One's the national economy, one's the state economy. The national economy, the housing market's in bad shape, and new houses are less all over. This isn't just Sioux Falls. So it looks like for a few years we'll have less new houses, which means less new streets. And the other is the farm economy in South Dakota is good. The last time it was good in the 70s when I was young, and the last time before that in the 40s when my dad was young. And both of our age groups had a whole lot of people stayed on the farm. And when the farm economy isn't so good, a lot of them moved to Sioux Falls. So I think there's going to be less people moving in, along with less houses already being built. So I don't think there's as much need for new streets as it might have appeared. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Others that wish to address the council for a period of 5 minutes, name and address, please.
Scott L. Arisman, 806 South 10th Avenue. I'm going to start out by reading the First Amendment, something I think is very important to me and many Americans. Congress shall make no law respecting establishment of a religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances, which basically means, in definition, guaranteeing the right of free expression, guarantee the right of freedom to religion. And I just want to say I watched in amazement on July 14th council meeting as a police officer grabbed a dissenting citizen's arm for simply stating his opinion. I thought I was watching a reenactment of Don't Tase Me, Bro, where when a guy asked John Kerry a question, he was dropped to the floor and tased by a police officer. As citizens, we have the right to dissent our government publicly. Not only is it our guaranteed by the First Amendment, I will also remind you that you work for us, and we elect you, we pay your wages, and we are your boss, not the other way around. I will also remind you that you have the luxury as the mayor and the council to debate the issues for almost 2 hours during council meetings, while we only get 5 minutes. Last I checked, the First Amendment does not include a time limit. I believe someone's statements are made within a reasonable, if they're made within a reasonable amount of time, they should not be cut off in mid-sentence. I believe that is out of order. As a supporter of the National Coalition Against Censorship, I became very disheartened when I saw a video of this incident. Whether you agree or disagree with Mr. Wiederman's statements is not the issue here. The issue is, as long as a citizen is not threatening you, they can state anything they want to from this podium, and they should not be threatened with arrest for their opinion. Are some people's statements going to be uncomfortable? Yes, they are. The truth isn't always a pleasure to hear. But either way, the First Amendment guaranteed citizens the right to dissent their government. If you cannot take criticisms or suggestions from your constituents, I suggest you resign your posts.
Others wish to address council for a period of 5 minutes? Not, we'll move on. Item 6.
2008-09 renewal of the retail malt beverage license for Lida Investment Corporation, Easy Dough Casino, 2309 West 12th Street, including video lottery terminals. Item 7, 2008-09 renewal of the retail malt beverage license for Natalia Scott's Touch Europe, 337 South Phillips Avenue. Item 8, new 2008 package liquor license for Wilson Management, LLC, Carnival Brazilian Grill, to be operated at 2401 South Carolyn Avenue. Item 9, new 2008 package liquor license for Stony Express Incorporated, Patina, to be operated at 222 South Phillips Avenue, pending final inspection per fire and permit issuance and inspections per building services. Item 10, new 2008-09 retail malt beverage license for McHughey's Incorporated, Hoagie's Legendary Sandwiches, to be operated at 5024 South Marion Road, full-service restaurant, pending final inspections per fire and health. Item 11, new 2008-09 retail malt beverage license for Karen McParlin, A Taste of the Big Apple, to be operated at 600 North Main Avenue, Suite 110, with conditional use permit being approved on 5/7/08, pending final inspections per fire, health, and building services. Item 12, new 2008 retail wine license for Karen McParland, A Taste of the Big Apple, to be operated at 600 North Main Avenue, Suite 110, with conditional use permit being approved on 5/7/08, pending final inspection per fire, health, and building services. Item 13, new 2008 retail wine license for Hy-Vee Incorporated, Hy-Vee Food Store, to be operated at 4101 South Louise Avenue, with the conditional use permit being approved on 6/4/08, pending final inspections per fire and building services. Item 14, new 2008 retail wine license for Pueblo Viejo Mexican Restaurant Incorporated, Pueblo Viejo Mexican Restaurant, to be operated at 109 East 10th Street, pending final inspections per fire, health, and building services. Item 15, transfer of a 2008-09 retail malt beverage license from Sal Orcozo Hinos El Taco Bar, 109 East 10th Street, to Pueblo Viejo Mexican Restaurant Incorporated, Pueblo Viejo Mexican Restaurant, to be operated at 109 East 10th Street, pending final inspections for fire, health, and building services. Item 16, transfer of a 2008-09 retail malt beverage license from Golem Mala, Taste of India, 1504 West Russell Street, to Vineyard LLC, Taste of India, to be operated at 1504 West Russell Street, with the conditional use permit approved in 2003. Item 17, transfer of a 2008 retail wine license from Golem Mala, Taste of India, 1504 West Russell Street, to Vinner LLC, Taste of India, to be operated at 1504 West Russell Street, with a conditional use permit approved in 2003. Item 18, transfer of a 2008 packaged liquor license from Sidney Epstein Sid's Crown Liquor, 330 South First Avenue, to Sid's Crown Liquor, LLC, Sid's Crown Liquor, to be operated at 330 South First Avenue. Item 19, special one-day liquor license for Catering America, Chef Dominique's Catering, to be operated at the Old Courthouse Museum, 200 West 6th Street, on September 6, 2008, for a reception. Item 20, special one-day liquor license request for SMG to be operated at the Orpheum Theater, 315 North Phillips Avenue, on August 9, 2008, for a wedding, and August 16, 2008, for a family reunion. Item 21, rescind special one-day liquor license issued to Ashley Curb to be operated at the Old Courthouse Museum, 200 West 6th Street, on December 5, 2008, for a wedding reception approved by the council on 6/2/08. Item 22, Special one-day malt beverage and wine license request for the Sioux Falls Sister Cities Associations to be operated on Phillips Avenue from 5th Street North to 2nd Street for the German Fest to be held on September 13, 2008. Item 23, special one-day malt beverage and wine license request for downtown Sioux Falls to be operated on Phillips Avenue between 10th and 11th Streets for the Stogie's Stakeout to be held on August 2nd, 2008.
Thank you, Denise. Lori Hogshead with the City Finance Office representing items 6 through 23. The only change I have is on items 14 and 15. The inspections were completed today, so we no longer need pending final inspections, and that would be for the Pueblo Viejo Mexican restaurant. And I can answer questions on any of the other items that you may have.
Questions, look, Kenny?
On item 9, what type of business is that going to be? Is that just going to be a liquor store, or is there another business operating out of that?
No, as far as I know, it's going to be, and I do have the owner here, so I might call her up, but she is just going to have packaged wine on the side. But I'll have Joni Persing. Joni, if you could come up. I think she's here, yep. And she could explain her business plan for you. Just give your name and address first.
My business address? Sure. Joni Persing, 222 South Phillips Avenue. I thought I would incorporate just a kind of a low-key wine rack, maybe for the residents downtown, maybe to be part of the community a little bit. I do have a store. I will have antique furniture, vintage costume jewelry, just a little variety of this and that.
Questions?
Okay, so you're not planning a full-service liquor store down
Be
there?
very low-key.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Joni.
Thank you.
Other questions of Lori on items 6 through 23? Not, is there a council motion or
I move
action?
for approval of items 6 through 23, Knutson.
Is there a second?
Second, let's
Second. Further comments on that motion to approve items 6 through 23? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve items 6 through 23 will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no.
Council members Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
All members present voted. Items 6 through 23 have been approved 8-0. Item 35.
Public hearing for public input regarding adoption of the 2009-2013 capital program.
Anyone that wishes to address the council on item number 35, we ask you to just come forward and give your name and then your address, please.
Good evening. My name is Teresa Staley, and I live at 1621 South Van Ness Avenue. I attended both of the CIP presentations last week. During the 4.5 hours, I jotted down some of my concerns, and I am really grateful to have the opportunity to share them with you tonight as a citizen. My first area of concern has to do with the presentation by Eugene Rowenhorst. Mr. Rowenhorst is paid $117,000 a year, approximately, to be the Director of Finance for our city. Mr. Rowenhorst has a staff of 22 people to keep an accounting of our tax money. It was troubling to me that Mr. Rowenhorst has hired a consulting firm, PFM, for the cost of $45,000 to evaluate our city finances and our borrowing potential. The consultant, Jessica Cameron, advised our council that we are in such great shape that we can borrow an additional $250 million. We are currently carrying $280 million in debt. With so many of us working hard to live within our means and tighten our financial belts in our lives, it seems reckless to me to be spending $45,000 of taxpayers' money to have someone give us encouragement to borrow more. I question whether the things that we are being encouraged to buy on credit are going to be wants or needs for our city. My second area of concern has to do with the pavilion. We heard at the CIP that a consultant was hired for around $45,000 to go through this facility, the pavilion, with a fine-tooth comb. This facility is less than 11 years old. Why do we need to spend $45,000 of taxpayer money to check it out from head to toe? The consultant indicated that he was looking for historically correct stairways and walls. For those of us working hard to make a living, this seems very wasteful. Also, the CIP includes another $300,000 for those windows, bringing the total for the historically correct windows up to $800,000. These cosmetic projects should be paid for by the private sector, those who use and cherish the pavilion, not by an entertainment tax imposed upon all the citizens. My third area of concern is the arena. Rusty Curtains asked for $613,000 in building improvements. This included arena rigging for lights and a catwalk, and some roof issues that have been going on for several years. His quotes were less than assuring that this was a compelling expenditure. One quote, he says, that they keep delaying these projects because of the uncertain future of the arena. And to me, I'm thinking, well, it's still pretty uncertain with this event center looming. The other quote that this man made, and please go back and check this out when it is on Channel 16, he said, "I'm not sure the money will be totally wasted." It makes no sense that on the eve of the future of the arena that we would pour money into it. I suggest we hold off until we know what use will be for the arena in the future. The last issue on the CIP is that historic facade easement program. This gives $150,000 of free money to a business owner in the downtown area. Erica Beck said that you have been giving away this free money to the business community since 2001. In 2012, the amount will be raised to a giveaway of free money of $175,000. I would propose that it would make more taxpayer sense to offer low-interest loans to these businesses, much like the Community Development Program does for us homeowners. Also make the loan program available to all businesses in the name of fairness. I want to challenge the council to show the taxpayer that our city cares about being fiscally responsible and not overexerting us into unnecessary debt for the future. I would also ask you, councilors, to consider adding a small amount of $15,000 to the budget to try a few snow gates. The Argus Leader editorial also said this would be a good venture. The company has offered to give us a discount to try these things and see for ourselves if they indeed do work. I also challenge you all to call Bismarck, as I did, and talk to the Public Works Director yourself and see how that's been working since 2000. Helping residents by keeping the snow out of their driveway would make sense and be a great use of tax dollars for all of us. And lastly, Mayor, Bob, when is this going to be broadcast again on Channel 16? I think we need some clarification.
Tonight's?
No, the CIP hearings.
Oh,
so people, because I encourage people to watch these.
And I
think it's
told
good.
Cheryl I'd find out and get back to her.
But how are you going to get back to the citizens?
We talked about we'd try to put it on different parts of the Channel 16 when we have the...
But was it scheduled to be rebroadcast again, or was that it?
I don't know the answer to that, Cheryl. I'll find that out. I said I told Cheryl I'd find that out for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Others that wish to address the council on the CIP, item 35.
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Rath. I live at 1709 East Fair Lane. Last week, I attended both CIP budget hearings. I listened to the directors present their wish lists. These are some, but not all of the capital projects that I have questions about. All are scheduled for 2009. My first question is about the seating at the Orpheum Theater. It will cost the taxpayers $289,000 to replace the seats. Why do we continue to subsidize the Orpheum? Revenue is generated by rentals of the Link, the Black Box Theater, and performances in the old Orpheum Theater. The taxpayers have already invested several $1 million in this facility. Why do we continue to subsidize it? The next capital project that I do not understand is the pedestrian bridge planned for the area of the Sioux River near Sharapa Place. Why would we spend $750,000 tax dollars on a pedestrian bridge when just a short distance to the south we already have a very safe and adequate pedestrian walkway on the 8th Street Bridge? Several weeks ago, I was very surprised to hear Don Kearney, Director of Parks and Rec, announce plans for a junior football complex. This is a project that was in the CIP for the year 2012. It has now been moved up to 2009. The dollar amount in the CIP is $5.7 million. This includes $4.2 million from the taxpayers and $1.5 million from the Junior Football Association. I think that the $1.5 million from the Junior Softball Association should be in the bank before the taxpayers are asked to commit the remaining $4.2 million. Finally, the removal and relocation of the downtown railroad tracks. Several years ago, when Tom Daschle was Senate Majority Leader, he received a commitment of $42 million federal dollars for this project. The removal and relocation of the tracks is in the 2009 CIP for $27 million. This means that there is a shortfall of millions of dollars to complete this project. Where is the money going to come from? The reason given for this project is to relieve traffic congestion created by the trains crossing 6th Street and 8th Street. I believe that the real reason is that the removal of the tracks will open up 46 acres of downtown for commercial and residential development. The relocation of the tracks will also require that a second railroad bridge be placed over the falls. This will once again forever alter the view of the falls. The CIP project is short millions of, this CIP project is short millions of dollars to complete. How will the shortfall be made up? Thank you.
Thank you. Others that wish to address the council on item number 35, name and address, please.
Good evening. Larry Rayfeld, 210 South Phillips. I'm here representing Bill Peterson, the downtown chairman of the downtown organization. I'll be in that position next year, and he asked me to essentially not address anything specific, but to let the council know that we appreciate the investments that you have made and continue to make in the downtown area. It is unbelievable as a resident downtown and as a business person downtown, the changes that have happened because of the actions of this council in the past years and the continued action. It is a phenomenal place to live, work, and play, as our slogan is. And I'm merely here to thank you. Your investment is paying off. The private sector has stepped up to the plate. The tax base is greatly increasing, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Others that wish to address the council on item number 35.
Tom Hool, 1600 Southeastern Avenue. I'm here to speak in favor and in behalf of the Siouxland Library's Board of Trustees. One of the items in the CIP is a West Side Branch Library. We've had some time to look at that issue and wish to express our support for that item. We think that the west side is grossly underserved at the present time. By 2015, the estimates are there'll be 55,000 people living in that area. That's almost the size of Rapid City. The clearest branch we have to that right now is the Cayley branch. And the Cayley branch is now being used so heavily by residents of the south side, the west side, that is practically overrun and is in danger. In fact, we have to do some remodeling there. We cannot expand that any further because it's locked in terms of its size. The other part of the west side branch is that it continues the idea of the hub and spoke concept. If you understand that downtown, our main library is really the hub for all of these branches. We serve them, and the spokes go out where people live. And the process has been to wait until we find out where people live and put a branch out there to serve them. That's an important concept. It is cheaper to do it that way, and it makes the libraries closer to where people live. If you go to some cities, you'll see a large central library forcing people to come to those libraries, those central libraries. The way we do it with the branch libraries in there, but people do not have so far to travel. They can get all the services they get at the downtown library, and we think that's a great benefit to library patrons. Now, the other concept that I would just mention is that the growth in the west side is reflected in the schools. There are now over 5,600 students attending 6 different schools in that area. Those students and their parents are heavy users of the libraries. We see that at the 3 other branches, and I would encourage you to consider that factor in meeting the needs of the students and the families. Thank you.
Thank you. Others that wish to address the council on item number 35?
Dave, Mr. Mayor, I just have a quick question for Tom.
This is more for public input, so we're really not asking a question. Go ahead.
Yeah. Tom, just a quick question. On the future library on the west side, do you have some firm plans where you want to put that at?
Well, you're thinking, if I recall, it's right at 26 in Discovery by the Memorial School. You can go in there.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Others that wish to address the council on item 35? Name and address, please.
Perry Hanovan, 6400 West 53rd Street. I would support the library on the west side. As a citizen on that side and talking to many neighbors and particularly parents of children, the library would be a great social portal for many of our young citizens, our teens, in that area. It would also ease access for many on the west side. It is somewhat challenging to make it to the downtown library, and also with the projected growth in that area, I think a library would really serve the citizens well on the west side. Thank you.
Thank you. Others that wish to address the council on item number 35? Seeing no one that is coming forward, we will move into the other items, and we're on item 24. Let me just, Cheryl and Teresa, what I'll do is on your issue that you had, we'll get a, I'll try to get a press release out so it goes to the media for that, on that, if that would work for you. Thank you. Okay, is it 24? Let's go 24.
Deferred action, second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the revised ordinances of the city by changing the definition of living ground cover.
Good evening. I'm Mike Cooper, representing Planning and Building Services, along with Steve Randall. We had introduced this item to the City Council as a result of various city staff asking for some revisions to our current definition of living ground cover. The staff that are responsible for the administration and enforcement of this particular area of the zoning ordinance have had some issues in recent months and years. And so we worked together with staff to come up with a better way of identifying what the intent was, specifically for turf grass. When the original ordinance was written, it was limited to bluegrass and creeping red fescue. And obviously, there are other types of turf grasses that would be more than desirable and meet the intent of this living ground cover. So we brought this forward as an amendment. It went through Planning Commission. We discussed it at first reading, and then we had requested a deferral of the second reading so that we could continue to work with the different staff on the definition. And we are presenting to you tonight a request for a substitute version of this that will not only address the different staff input from the attorneys to the zoning enforcement to parks and forestry, but will also make it consistent with the next agenda item that you will be considering, which is updating the Chapter 42 vegetation ordinance. So on the screen, we have the version that we are requesting to be a substitute amendment, and I'm just going to read this. This would be the new definition of landscaped area and living ground cover. And it would read, ground area that is modified from a natural state and permanently devoted and maintained in turf grass, herbaceous perennials, shrubs, or flowers. We would also add a second sentence that says, actively growing weeds as typically declared by the county to be locally noxious, and all other non-woody plants growing to a greater height than 8 inches shall not be considered living ground cover. And again, that is intended to be consistent with other ordinances that we are currently enforcing in the city. So we believe that this is a better way to define what the intent is. It's going to make it easier for developers, for property owners to comply with, and will also make it easier to enforce in the future by various city departments. So we would like to request this substitute motion to be considered by you tonight.
Questions of Mike on item number 24 or the Gerald?
Mike, when you went through this conversation and discussion internally, did the landscape gardeners and companies have any input into this conversation?
Again, they have had with the staff that have been responsible for the enforcement of it, and that's really how it kind of started. The property owners, the developers said that the way it's currently worded, it really restricts what you can do and makes it difficult to enforce. So it's really coming from the industry, if you will, that initiated this discussion with the staff.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions of Mike on item number 24? Others that wish to address the council on item number 24? If not, is there a motion to approve item 24? Then we'll go talk about the other issues you're interested in.
Move to approve. Brown.
Brown moves. Is there a second?
Second. Benninga.
Benninga seconded. Further comments on the motion to approve?
Did we need to amend it then?
You can do that now if you'd like.
Move to amend the motion as read by Director Cooper.
Okay, the motion is to approve item 24 as amended, the proposed amendment. Is there a second?
Second,
Let's second. Is there further comments on that motion to amend? Not. All in favor of the motion to amend will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no.
Council members Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 24 has been amended 8-0. Other questions? Is there any other motions on item 24 as amended? Not. We've had a motion that's been approved and seconded to approve item 24 as amended. So all in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Council members Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Litz.
yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 24 has been approved 8-0 as amended. Item 25.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the revised ordinances of the city by revising Chapter 42, vegetation.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. Kelby Maris with Parks and Recreation. The proposed changes to the vegetation ordinance is a housekeeping item. It's updating the ordinance from its original version, replacing City Commission with City Council, moving the definitions from deeper in the ordinance to the front. Basically are the changes that we're proposing tonight, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions of Kelby from the council. Kermit?
Yes. I guess there's one item here that says that citizens no longer have to have a permit to plant a tree.
That's right.
Is that also true for the boulevard?
Yes.
So the citizens can go ahead and plant any tree they want to on city property, which is the boulevard?
No, there still is an approved street tree list. However, we are no longer requiring the property owners to go through the process to acquire a permit to plant that tree.
Oh, okay.
But there still is the approved street tree list.
Okay. Are there many trees on that list? I mean, I was thinking about adding a tree, and
Yeah, there is actually quite a few trees on the list. Our city forester has worked really hard to ensure that there is quite a lot of variety on that list so that we're not creating a monoculture of trees out there.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions of Kelby on item 25? Other people that wish to address the council on item 25? Seeing no one come forward, we will move on 25. Is there a motion to approve?
Move for approval, Benninga.
Benninga moves. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Litz seconded. Further comments on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve item 25 will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Costello.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 25 has been approved, 8-0. Item 26.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, approving the exchange of real property. Exchange 4609 South Louise Avenue for 4709 South Louise Avenue.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Tonight, this ordinance allows for the Lot 3 should be exchanged with Lot 7. These lots are within 1 square foot of each other, and then the intent would be that then the city will have 4 lots in a row that we will plat into 1 lot and auction off this fall. And this was the properties that were purchased through the widening of Louise Avenue in 2002.
Questions of Mark on item number 26? Others that wish to address the council on item 26? Seeing no one come forward, is there a motion to approve?
I so move. Knutson.
Knutson moved. Second?
Second, Litz.
Litz seconded. Further comments on that motion to approve? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Costello.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 26 has been approved, 8-0. Item 27.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, providing supplemental appropriations, community development, $17,500, reimbursement from Minnehaha County for 1/2 of $35,000 for the permanent supportive housing study.
Good evening. Randy Bartunik, Director of Community Development and Public Parking. This ordinance provides the funding and the budget authority for the city and the county to proceed with the architectural study of the Army-Navy building and converting that to permanent supportive housing.
Questions of Randy and Vernon?
Randy, at our 4 o'clock, there were some questions about what list of goods we'll get for this service. Could you talk about, and I know it isn't finalized completely, but we have a pretty good sense of what we want to see in that. Could you, for the benefit of the council, talk about what's on that list?
You could probably summarize it into probably maybe about 4 different ways. One, we're going to try to get a price on converting the entire building into about 32 to 35 efficiency-style apartments that will have their own bathroom, own kitchen. Another option will be to convert some of the units with bathrooms and kitchens while leaving other ones just as rooms with using a shared bathroom. And then also the last one, then we'll also be looking at converting the facility just using all the shared bathroom concept. And then the last item would be looking at the facility and comparing the renovation cost to new construction.
Further questions on 27? Greg.
Randy, are those
recommendations that the HAB board gave you, or those your own?
Those are not my own. In fact, we had a meeting this noon with the site selection committee. Those are items that were discussed. But this is actually, I think Councilor Benega had asked a question last week what the architect had included in that cost range, and this is actually a response that I had received back from him clarifying that.
Go ahead, Vern.
Just to follow up with that, Councilor Jamison, Randy has consulted with the HAB board on what it wishes to see in this as well, so he has sought input.
Other questions of Randy from the council? If not, others that wish to address the council on item number 27? Seeing no one come forward, is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Who made it? Kenny Anderson made it. A second?
Second, Brown.
Brown seconds.
Mr. Mayor, I have an
Yes.
amendment. Move to amend to change the title to reimbursement from Minnehaha County for one-half of $35,000 for an architectural estimate of permanent supportive housing for homeless individuals.
And I would like to second that motion, Knutson.
Brown made the motion. Everybody understand the motion? Knutson seconded it. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of the amendment will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Council members Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
All members present have voted. The amendment has been approved 8-0. Now we're back to the main motion as amended. Further discussion on the main motion as amended? Greg?
I'm just a little concerned about us spending this money without discussing our final plan. I know we need to dig into this, and I'll probably be outvoted, but I really think we should focus on our partnership more than worrying about this building. I know it's a great opportunity for the city and all, but I really think we should talk more about our partnership first. So I would just encourage that discussion maybe to come up sooner than later. But I guess I'll still support this study because I think it's down the right path, but I don't want us to get distracted by looking at all these other sites that we might do and could do and might be great opportunities, and then we all get together later and decide, well, we can't even agree on what kind of a deal we're going to do. So I'm just concerned that we don't lose focus of the bigger picture is all.
Was Kermit, were you up or?
D can go.
Okay, D, go ahead.
Councilor Jameson, I very much respect your feelings on this topic, and I'd just like to tell you that that clearly we are continuing, individually, like at our site committee today, we're clearly continuing to talk with our wonderful county partners about trying to finalize a partnership that will work. And so I just want you to know in our very good meeting yet today that was clearly part of our discussion also. And I know we're not quite there yet and so forth, and we all wish we had more revenue to, do more. But anyway, I just want you to know that people like me and Councilor Brown, who's worked so terribly hard on this issue, are continuing to have those very serious discussions with the county commissioners.
Further comments on the motion to go ahead, Kermit.
Yeah, I was just going to say that state law is very clear. State law says that the county is responsible for welfare. Now we have the city of Sioux Falls beginning to dabble in this in regard to this appropriation here dealing with $35,000. We should let the county pay for the $35,000, not the city of Sioux Falls. Once again, they are responsible for welfare, not the city of Sioux Falls.
Thank you. Other comments? We've got a motion to approve as amended. Back to the main motion as amended. All in favor? Aye. Yes. The opposed? No.
Council members Costello.
Yes.
Council members Jameson.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
No.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 27 has been approved 7 yes, 1 no as amended. Item 28.
First reading an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a major amendment, petition number 2008-0602 to Chapter 15.45.070, Planned Development Districts at 26951 South Cliff Avenue or 77th Street, and Cliff Avenue, amending the Grand Prairie East Plan Development District sub-area regulations. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
We have a number of items tonight that will be presented as first reading that have been reviewed and recommended by the City Planning Commission. Item 28 is a parcel that's just over 12 acres along South Cliff Avenue near 77th Street. There's an existing residence on the property. The owner of this has been approved for future redevelopment of this site. However, at this time, they would like to receive approval to continue keeping horses on this property until such time as the property is redeveloped. So this amendment would allow for the keeping of horses at this existing residence.
Questions of Mike on item 28? Let's go to 29.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property north of Southeastern Avenue and East 69th Street from the Agricultural District and the Whispering Woods Plan Development District to the RS2 Residential District, petition number 2008-0523, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is just over 45.5 acres in size, and it is north of 69th Street and east of Southeastern Avenue. The proposed land use or development for this will be approximately 171 single-family residential lots.
Questions of Mike on item number 29? Let's move to 30.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at West 53rd Street and South Klein Avenue from the RS2 Residential District to the RC Recreation Conservation District, petition number 2008-0604, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is just over 7 acres in size, and it's located on the east side of South Klein Avenue and north of West 53rd Street. And this is a zoning request on behalf of the city for a future neighborhood park site, and this is being done in conjunction with the Sioux Falls School District. They are currently working on a Southwest Elementary School at this location.
Questions of Mike on item number 30? Go ahead, Karen.
Yes, Mike, have we acquired this land yet for the park?
I don't know if we have title to it yet, but we have an agreement with the property owner, and I will check on that prior to second reading for you.
Okay, and what kind of cost?
I don't know that tonight, but I will find that out.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll have that information for second reading.
Further questions of Mike on item number 30? Let's go to 31.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at East 77th Street and South Cliff Avenue from the RS2 Residential District to the O Office District, petition number 2008-611, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is just over 2 acres in size, located along South Cliff Avenue, north of 77th Street. This is part of a development plan that was originally approved for single-family or twin homes. The property to the north is going to be developed as a future church site, and the property to the south has been approved for future commercial. So in order to provide a better transition, the developer is requesting this property to be amended to allow for office development.
Questions of Mike on item number 31? Let's go to 32.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 4208 to 4300 North Pennsylvania Avenue from the RS2 Residential District to the RD Residential District, petition number 2008-0614, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is about 1.4 acres in size, and it's part of the Green Hills subdivision, located along North Kerr Avenue and 54th Street North. The current zoning would allow for single-family or twin homes. The property owner is requesting this amendment to allow the option of up to 4 plexes on this property. It's located adjacent to a city park And this property also is going to provide for a pedestrian access into that neighborhood park. So the property owner is asking for additional uses that could be built along this particular area. And this rezoning would allow the option of going up to 4-unit buildings.
Questions of Mike on 32, Ken?
Mike, what are the other residents around there? Are the single family in that area?
Single family, and there are some twin homes along here as well.
Have we had any comments from the residents in that area?
No. During the previous public hearings, we have not had any neighborhood concerns expressed.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions of Mike on item 32? Let's move to 33.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at East 57th Street and Highway 11 from the Ag Agricultural District to the C4 Planned Commercial District. Petition number 2008-0620, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is approximately 32 acres of land area in the southwest corner of the intersection of East 57th Street and South Dakota Highway 11. The City Council has previously approved the annexation and the land use amendment for this property, and the future use is proposed to be for commercial development.
Further questions on item 33? Not. Is there a motion to set the hearing date for items 28 through 33 for August 4th at 7 p.m.?
So moved, Benninga.
Benninga moves. Is there a second?
Second, Anderson.
Anderson seconds. Further comments? I see none, so all in favor of setting the hearing date for items 28 through 33 for August 4th, vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Council members Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Knudsen,
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
All members present voted items 30. What we got here? 28 through 33. The hearing date has been set for August 4th, 8-0. Item 34.
Deferred action, a resolution authorizing the commencement of condemnation proceedings for the acquisition of a certain parcel of land for public use.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Mark Cotter with the Office of Public Works. On July 7th, we discussed this item. As we talked about, this is a necessary sanitary sewer extension off and to further develop the east side sanitary sewer system. It is named Basin 20, and we're certainly here to answer any of your questions.
Questions of Mark on 34. Others that wish to address the council on item number 34? Name and address. Okay, excuse me. Go ahead, Kermit.
Mark, in this whole process of talking about condemnation and making sure that we get Basin 20 sewered and so forth, the thought just crossed my mind. Do those people living in Basin 20 want that area sewerable or not? Because what has happened, in effect, is the City of Sioux Falls has said, we're moving into that area on the east of Sioux Falls, basically no matter what. But have we ever asked these people if they want it?
I can certainly address, obviously, any time that we plan a project, and as far back as in 1995 when the first project was placed in the 96 to 2000 CIP, that begins the planning process, and there's a natural progression to the point where once it's laid out to best and most efficiently serve an area which is a critical utility, which is sanitary sewer, for the natural progression and growth and quality of life of an area, there has been opportunities and also discussions, even as far back as when the cost recovery was brought forward to City Council. Landowners were notified that this is the project, this is the expected cost recovery. So there's been a number of steps that have been taken, and it is a natural step of a municipality.
Have there been any formal meetings with the people in Basin 20?
I would have to check on that in my short time here. I wasn't involved with those meetings, but there's obviously been conversations with this particular landowner, and also just as we initiate design activities and ask landowners for permission to go on their property to conduct field surveys, to survey the topographic features, but also the fixed features. There's communication in several steps along the way.
I guess my concern, thinking about it late this afternoon, is, we do a lot of other things when we talk about citizens living right in Sioux Falls. We have this meeting and that meeting and all kinds of meetings all over the place. But these are people that are living 2 miles outside the city limits of Sioux Falls. And I guess I'm concerned that we really haven't bothered to ask them if they want all this good stuff that we're bringing them. That's a concern that I have.
Understand, Councilor Staggers, and I will certainly follow up with what meetings have been conducted.
Because we have the example of Split Rock Creek, sitting just east of Sioux Falls. Those people, I guess right now, still do not want to have regular city sewer. And I guess my inclination is, well, they don't want city sewer, well, that's their decision. Maybe in the future they'll want it, and that time we can provide it. And so naturally I'm thinking maybe these are the kind of people that are living in Basin 20, like the people living in Split Rock Creek, that at this time they really don't want it. And we don't know.
Further questions of Mark on item 34? Thank you. Mr. Phelan?
Bob Phelan, 9120 East 41st Street, Minnehaha County. Mr. Mayor and honorable council members, this statement should take about 8 minutes or so. Is that acceptable to you? This is old news, but I must include it in the chronological events. We met here on Monday, July 7th, and we are now all aware of the lack of notification to the city and Shirley and myself concerning the condemnation resolution, and how the city attorney said that they didn't know how it occurred, and you apologized to us, and we simply shrugged that off. Thanks to a reporter, we made it to the meeting that night. During the meeting, we came to an agreement. Because of the lack of information provided to you from your own public works and city attorney's departments, you deferred your resolution vote 2 weeks so we could provide additional information to you. On Tuesday, July 8th, I hand-delivered a packet containing hard copies and electronic files of all my documentation to Deborah Owen, the city clerk. These documents were directly distributed to the council members so you could have a better sense of how this case evolved, and to help you make a more informed decision prior to your vote tonight. Now there's another related matter that we need to address. On Friday, July 11th, I once again received a call from a reporter at the Argus Leader. Her name was Melanie Brandert. She began asking me questions concerning the condemnation matter before the council and how we felt about the lack of notification. I simply responded that we were told it was a mistake and the council had apologized. I don't think I gave her the response she was looking for. I'm sure you've all seen the article. But what really surprised me during this phone call, however, was when she began asking very specific questions concerning the documents that I had just delivered to the city on July 8th. She was repeating word for word from 2 pieces of documentation from my packet. I asked her if she actually had copies of these 2 documents in her possession, and she said yes. She said that Sean Tornow, the assistant city attorney, gave these documents to her. I asked if she had other documents, and she said no. These were all that Sean had given to her. One of these 2 documents had never been in the city's possession prior to July 8th. Now some very important questions need to be raised. Number 1, why would the city attorney release these documents to the media in the first place prior to your vote here tonight? Why were only the last 2 chronological documents selected from a packet of almost 30 pages? Why weren't all of the documents released to the media? Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that someone within your organization may be playing a game. Since this packet was only distributed to the council, this release of my documentation to the assistant city attorney was either directed by one or all of you on the council. It appears to me that someone in the council and the city's attorney's office is attempting to somehow sway public opinion by cherry-picking documents from my informational packet and passing them to the media. You can't fault the Argus leader for the way they presented the story. All they had were two documents with a discussion of $11,300 and $326,000 for 0.4 acres of land. Sounds ludicrous, doesn't it? But she wasn't given the whole story, was she? As you all now know, my $326,000 compensation requirements go far beyond a simple half acre of dirt. The events of the past 2 weeks lead me to question number 4. Was it really just a mistake by the city attorney to neglect to notify us of the July 7th resolution vote? It's beginning to appear to me that quite possibly it may have been a carefully crafted way to get this resolution quickly passed without the council having all the facts or allowing Shirley and I to share our side of the story. While it was not illegal for the city attorney to release my documents to the media, it certainly was unethical. What you choose to do about this indiscretion is entirely up to you, but to the layman it appears like some underhanded dealings have taken place. When the whole truth comes out, your constituents will be watching. We have not been commenting much on this to the media up to this point, but we will from now on. Now almost everything is on the table. You've seen my documentation and photos, and some of you may have visited the property personally. I thank those of you who did so for taking time out of your busy schedules. I'm sure you truly do care about making an informed decision. The only thing I cannot provide to you tonight is the third-party appraisals you requested. The only appraiser in the region qualified to do an appraisal of this special and delicate nature is unavailable for at least 8 weeks. We do, however, have an expert's preliminary statement concerning the landscape on the property. And also, along with that statement, is a photo of an area where the East Side Sanitary was installed last year. There used to be a beautiful, thick, wooded area there. Now it looks like it was strip mined. This is what my home will look like when you're through. I really don't believe that this is about the $326,000 that we expect for this easement and the destruction of our property. I believe this is all about precedent. The City of Sioux Falls does not want landowners in Minnehaha and Lincoln counties to know that they have rights and that the city can be held responsible for its actions and can be made to compensate for what they destroy in the name of progress. Our requirements could easily be paid from the project's contingency or funded by developers who will be making millions developing the 23,000 acres of eastern Sioux Falls. But you choose not to do this. The city representatives lied to every landowner they contacted about the easements on the east side sewer line. Every landowner, including myself, was told the city doesn't pay for easements. Well, your offer of $11,300 to me makes that statement a deliberate lie. You should have been telling landowners the city only pays for easements when you can't be tricked. The last point I want to make is this. Remember, Shirley and I didn't go looking for this. You forced this upon us. We're simply good citizens quietly enjoying life in one of the most beautiful areas in Minnehaha County. You have disrupted our lives and intend to destroy a good share of our beautiful valley and its value. Also that you can flush another 100,000 toilets. How would you feel if our roles were reversed and this were your home? If you choose to vote yes on this resolution, be prepared and forewarned. We love our home and all that it stands for. We expect our submitted requirements to be met in full. If the city expects to intimidate us with their underhanded tricks or otherwise get us to cower down, you are mistaken. We are just like that bronze statue standing in Faywick Park that you're so proud of. We will stand against the Goliath with nothing but the stone of truth and the sling of justice at our side. This needs to be a wake-up call for every landowner within 30 miles of this city. Shirley and I are residents of Minnehaha County. We do not live within the city limits. We cannot vote you into or out of office, and yet you have the power to do all of this to us. This is already becoming a media circus. You can make it worse or you can make it go away. Ladies and gentlemen of the council, vote what's in your heart.
Questions, Mr. Phelan? Go ahead.
Yes, I was interested about your neighbors. Have there been meetings by the city with your neighbors to find out if people really want this?
The original meetings that the city held, they were informational, basically. There was never any formal meetings. There were letters sent out, and we had we were sent letters stating that there was going to be an informational meeting at the beginning of the East Side Sanitary project.
Were there any questions ever asked whether you really want it or not, or this is the way it's going to be?
Basically, I think it was more, this is the way it's going to be. It's coming. Get out of the way. And just about everyone there said, well, what are you going to give us for it? Nothing. Now, those of you who have seen my property, or at least seen the pictures, took the time, we're not talking about 0.4 acres of dirt.
Further questions of Mr. Phelan from the council? No, thank you very much. Others that wish to address the council on item 34?
My name is Jim Hutchinson. I reside at 2817 East McIntosh Street in Sioux Falls. We own approximately 128 acres to the north and to the west of 41st Street and 6 Mile Road. And we have been working with the city, and we have plans to use that land. And the sewer is critical for us to use the land. This is something that's been underway for several years. We've been waiting for the sewer on the east side for several years, and that particular arm of it is very important to us. So given that, I would just ask that, I think I'm in favor of the resolution. However, I would say that I would ask that we get this thing resolved, get it resolved quickly, so there's not a delay to some of us landowners that want to use their property. That's all I have to say.
Questions? No, thank you. Others that wish to address the council on item 34?
Richard Herding. I live at 8700 East 40th. I don't know my neighbors. I should. I'm one of the ones that will be affected by the sewer, and I'm also affected in another way. In family ground a mile to the south, there was a 3/4 mile of this pipe that has run up through our farmland. And we were told emphatically on 2 separate occasions that there will be no easements. So am I to assume that any time that I deal with the city that I have to doubt their veracity? That's my question.
Thank you. Questions? Excuse me.
I'm wondering, when you said there's not going to be any easements, there has to be...
There was no paid easements.
Oh, okay, no.
I misspoke.
And also, too, was anything said about when you hook up in the future to the
Yes.
What did they...
Well, there's various costs depending on whether you have a residence prior to, and I think the city works people could tell you better, but there's a difference in cost per acre whether you have a residence there before the sewer or if you're developing land after the sewer. But right now, it's a family pasture, and you ran up through 3/4 mile of it, and we didn't see 2 cents out of the deal, other than a flooded mess now when the rain comes again.
So when it comes to the easement on your property, there's no consideration for you hooking up in the future at a reduced cost?
Zero.
Other questions? Thank you. Others that wish to address the council on... Oh, Vernon, go ahead. Okay.
Gerald Tunison, 808 Jane Lane, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of Community Reformed Church, and we have purchased and plan to build quite soon at East 41st Street and Faith Avenue, which is a half a mile east of Highway 11, and fall into the way God made the earth, I guess, that our stuff has to flow into Basin 20. And so, because geographically, and so I guess our intent is to start building quite soon, that this hopefully be resolved so we can go ahead and get hooked up to that sewer. Thank you.
Questions? Thank you, Gerald. Others that wish to address the council on item number 34?
Daryl Varick, sorry about that, I got a sore throat. Daryl Varick, 812 South Minnesota Avenue, Varick Commercial Real Estate. I was asked by Steve Metley to put the sewer project together on the northwest part of the city back in the mid-90s, which I did, and it happened in a very short time. It was my first experience with that. Seeing that, I jumped to the east side of Sioux Falls, got in touch with all the landowners, got them all on board saying, we don't have sewer and we don't have roads. If you guys want some value out of your property, you need both. And so, working with the 1,800 acres out there, I got the landowners all on board to give the land to the city for the roads and to do the easements. And I know there was a couple smaller easements that were paid for loss of pasture or some fencing or stuff. I don't think there was any direct payments for the sewer easement. And as far as meetings with these other neighbors, Basin 20 came along later. We have property in both basins. The Brandon School District is working with us to acquire a city piece of property for 10 acres for a park and a school in Basin 20. And we did get together with all the landowners. As far as George Boom, he was a little reluctant in the beginning, and so were the Haars. But we had 100% participation from the people that I talked to on this whole project out there. I'm not aware of Mr. Phelan's project over there or where his land was at. So I wasn't part of that deal, but I have all the consent of all the rest of the landowners in there that I'm aware of. And as far as going in there, knocking those trees down, yeah, they did come through. They had to come through the bottom of our draw and knock the trees down. And there is a path down the middle, which I think is good now for us because it can access Parkway from all the way down that major drainage way. But also, as far as any financial loss, Todd Porter bought that land, 16 acres for $900,000, and we've got an offer on that same piece of property for mid-950 right now with that strip mine down the middle of it. So it's the sewer that adds the value to the land and the services. I know sometimes some guy wants to hold up 4/10 of an acre to keep 6,000, 7,000 people from having a home, but that's just part of progress.
Questions? Vernon, Daryl?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
My questions are to department heads, Daryl, so thank you. First of all, Justice Amundsen, maybe just for the benefit of the public, could you explain in lay terms what this resolution, what action this actually brings?
Well, this action, I guess I got... This action... Okay, this action allows the commencement of a condemnation. It doesn't take the property at this time. An action has to be filed. And when an action is filed, this is merely showing that there is a need for the acquisition for a project that's been on the drawing board, I believe, as Mr. Cotter said, since '95. And after, if the parties can't reach a mutual agreement, and I've done highway condemnation and know that sometimes it can, sometimes it can't, then the matter can be filed in circuit court. And that's when an individual has the right to have 12 of his peers, namely citizens, decide what his just compensation is for the taking of the property and for any severance damage that he would or the owners would incur. So this is just a merely initial step, and you have the appraisal prepared by the individual hired by the city, and I believe even Mr. Phelan, is that right? You also had an opportunity to review that. And so this is just the first step. And there's a lot more that can be done. And I remember, having been on the Supreme Court, not trying to boast about it, I've reviewed condemnation actions. And I've reviewed condemnation actions from the city of Sioux Falls and other places. And an individual, if they aren't satisfied with what goes on in the trial, have an opportunity to take it to the higher level. And so I don't see anything in this matter that really deals with acquiring this to turn the easement over or the property over to private industry. This is for the city's use and the citizens for the development as I look at it. Does that answer your question, sir?
It does. Thank you. And then a question for Mark Cotter, please. Mark, we've heard quite a bit about, a couple people have referred to it as strip mining, but in past, we put a lot of sewer in the ground in the last few years. Maybe so the public understands, can you give some examples of where we've worked to make sure that the landscaping was not damaged, the trees were not damaged, and that it isn't wiping out of property?
Certainly, and we can certainly follow up with photos. I think that as we progress on that, on the east side of Sioux Falls, we still have some agricultural land that is still areas that does not have trees, but we have gone through pastures, and as pastures function, sometimes those take 1 to 2 years for the turf to get reestablished. We have gone through areas where we may end up removing trees, but the particular landowner may also ask, can I have those trees replaced? And so as a part of a function of the contract, we can put a bid item in the contract to actually plant trees. Understand from our standpoint, we're not out there to clear large swaths of trees for sewer. We essentially want to do a couple of things. Put it in the most efficient place, and in most cases, the most efficient place is right along major drainage ways. And if the major drainage way functions well, in some cases they're not heavily inundated with trees just because of the natural course of nature. But you know, there are areas where there is areas where we have gone through and had to remove trees, and again, those are transactions with landowners that we first of all survey the property. We like to walk the property with the landowner, look at options based on the topography, the slope of the sewer, of the best location that we could place that sewer to provide the least impact. I think that's one of our critical steps with this property owner, is that we would really appreciate that opportunity to conduct a field survey and then really work with him to find the best option, because we're certainly conscious that of the trees on his property that he's highlighted, that if we can find a route that minimizes that impact or eliminates that impact, I think that that's a win-win for both sides. And so, as Bob Amundson said, this is just the first action. We started off a long ways apart, and
so at this point, you've not even had the option to go look and see where the best path might be on this piece of property?
Not outside of aerial photos.
Okay.
That's right.
And it seems to me a couple of years ago when we started this project, we even went through a golf course, correct?
Just north of here, we did go through the Willow Run golf course. That's right.
And today, how does that look?
I'd say that was a very good success story.
Further questions? Pat?
Mark, on the appraisal was attached, there was a picture diagram of the property, and there shows 2 routes to it, and one is a owner-preferred route. This ordinance that we're talking about tonight, is it specific for the southern route, or can it be utilized for both routes, either route? The ordinance tonight, is it specific to the southern route? There appears to be 2 routes that can be utilized across the property.
Well, I think that what Mr. Cotter has just said is this is based upon the best estimate that they could make, but this is the location and the drainage that they want to go, and if there's a different route after they've been able to evaluate, then it could change. Would it still be in the same vicinity?
It would. There's a drainage way, and so we are, like we do with most landowners, is that we are open to either side. We just have to talk about what's the most reasonable place to cross streams, creeks, and rivers. Okay.
So regarding these 2 different routes, either one of them is acceptable to the city?
That's still something that we are open to, that if topography allows the sewer to be located on either route, we would certainly still entertain that. But to step forward, there is, it's shown as on the south side, but if Mr. Phelan would like us to, if we were granted permission to conduct a full field survey and really walk the property with him to minimize the effects, we're certainly supportive of that.
And if you could you explain to me regarding the other gentleman's comments about how they were told they weren't going to be paid for easements? I mean, what is our process? And when we talk to landowners, and I didn't quite understand Mr. Bierik's role in the process as well.
Well, I can talk in general terms. I'm not typically directly involved with those easement negotiations, but in general, there's two components. There's a permanent utility easement, and that's where the utility is going to go, and that would reserve, in this particular case, there's a 30-foot wide permanent easement, which also provides enough width for routine maintenance as we need to. Now, there's also a component of temporary easement. And in many cases, for example, a temporary easement is really where we try to address that if there is going to be crop loss for 1 or 2 growing seasons, if we isolate a section of a pasture that doesn't allow for ag to cross, then we identify what that loss in revenue will be, and that's a compensated item. And so there is, with every landowner, there is discussions that are very specific. But again, as you develop a cost recovery basis, is that it's advantageous to the entire region and the taxpayers to have the most economical system.
Other questions? Go ahead, Kermit.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I should ask you, Mark, but I was looking for our outside counsel. Is Dick Riggerson?
He had a matter tonight regarding an award for his wife who passed away, so he couldn't be here.
Okay. I guess earlier at another meeting we were asking, or at least I was asking the question of the full-blown legal costs involved in something like this, because this is the first time since all of us on the council have been involved in this, and I know it's difficult to give some kind of number, but I don't know, to me, I have to have a number to know what we're going to expect in the future if this is a full-blown legal case.
Is that on? I think that Mr. Gregerson advised you that he would try to get you a figure to the best of his ability.
Yeah, and I didn't get it. Yeah.
Well, maybe it takes him longer than we anticipated.
Maybe it does.
Further questions? Not others that wish to address the council on item number 34? Seeing no one that's coming forward, is there a motion to approve or council discussion?
I move for approval of item number 34, Knutson.
Knutson, is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Litz seconded. Further comments on that motion? Go ahead.
Yes, probably the most important role of the city council is to protect private property rights. Protecting property rights, you protect everybody's rights. The 5th and 14th Amendments to the U.S. Constitution talk about property rights. Those two amendments talking about life, liberty, and property cannot be taken without due process of law. The 5th Amendment itself deals specifically with eminent domain and the taking of private property for a public use, and also providing for just compensation. In this case, the city of Sioux Falls wants to use eminent domain 2 miles outside of its legal borders, and in the process to compensate the property owner for $11,300. For those of us who have gone out there to view the property, I think most of us probably wonder, $11,300, is that really just compensation? However, $11,300 is nothing compared to legal costs, which we still have to find out. However, at $200 per hour, it will be expensive. Another issue that has been ignored for the most part during this entire discussion is, do the people living outside the city limits of Sioux Falls in Basin 20 really want sewer? Or do they want to live like the residents of the Split Rock Creek subdivision without sewer? Let's also be honest, too. They may not even want to be annexed to the city of Sioux Falls in the future because sewer eventually is going to bring annexation, and some people do not want to be annexed into the city of Sioux Falls. We should hear from the citizens of Basin 20. Contrary to our legal advice to rush through this process, we should slow down and find out what the people who actually live there believe. Vote against this condemnation tonight so we can find out what the citizens of Basin 23 really want.
Thank you.
Well, I would just like to say that I totally agree with Councilor Stagers on part of what he said, and that is that, of course, I too believe in due process. And I guess the difference that I see between us tonight on this issue is that I have full confidence in the judicial system, and I am very much in favor of moving this to the next step, as we are required to do by state law. And again, the negotiations have gone on for more than half a year, and this project has been on the books for almost 10 years. And so, I mean, I believe that these important people will receive due process, and I believe they deserve that, and they will receive that. I have full confidence in that point.
Further comments? Got a motion been made and seconded to approve item 34. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of the motion to approve item 34 will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Council members Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
No.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 34 has been approved. 7 yes, 1 no. Item 36.
A resolution of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, correcting a legal description on Resolution Number 6808, a resolution declaring the necessity to grade, gravel, construct curb and gutter with driveway approaches, construct sidewalks, storm sewer, asphalt surfacing, street lights, and water main on North Bonson Avenue from East Madison Street to 1,300 feet north, and assessing the cost to each lot or tract of land benefiting thereby.
Good evening again, Mayor and City Council. This is a small correction, and it is to change the Roman number 2 to spell out the word second, and that's identified in the resolution that's in front of you.
Questions of Mark on item number 36? Others that wish to address the council on item 36? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Let's
moved. Is there a second?
Second, Brown.
Brown seconds. Further comments on that motion? I see none, so all in favor of that motion vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Council members Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
No.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
All members present voted 7 yes, 1 no. Item 36 has been approved. Item 37.
A resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Annexation 2008-06-02, 73rd Street and Charger Avenue, Pike Addition.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I must remove myself from this vote.
Okay, be noted that council member Staggers will be excused from item 37.
This is a 10-acre parcel located directly south of the University of Sioux Falls Athletic Complex on South Cliff Avenue, and it is proposed to be developed for future institutional uses, and this is a petition by the landowner requesting annexation.
Further questions of Mike on item 37? Others that wish to address the council on item 37? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Let's
moved. Is there a second?
Second, Anderson.
Anderson seconds. Further comments on the motion to approve? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 37 has been approved. 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 38.
A resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Annexation 2008-05-03, R.E. Lax, 41st Street and 6 Mile Road.
I'm going to make some general comments on all the remaining items on the agenda tonight. There's a group of 8 property owners that are petitioning for annexation into the city limits. And the entire property that's being considered tonight consists of 853 acres of land area. It is generally bordered by 41st Street on the north, down to 57th Street to the south, 1/2 mile east of Highway 11, extending east to the Big Sioux River. And that would border adjacent to the existing east side sanitary sewer lift station. This is a group petition for annexation, and it goes back to last year when Darrell Varick, who is still here tonight, began discussing with all of these property owners about the potential for putting together a package of annexation and future land use plans. The property that's being petitioned tonight for annexation does have access to the east side lift station, and there is proposal for a trunk sewer line that would extend through this property and connect to the lift station in 2009. We've had a series of meetings with representatives of the property owners, including Mr. Varick, with a number of different city departments to talk about everything from infrastructure, streets, land use, future open space, school park sites, and the developers, the property owners have been working with a consultant on a master plan for future land use approval. So this is the first step in the process, and we're going to be going through these individually, but I just wanted you to know that we have worked with the property owners as a group. And you will also notice that each resolution specifies for that particular parcel what the expectations are by the developer, by the property owner, in terms of their requirements for future infrastructure, water, sewer, and street improvements. So we spent a lot of time with staff, with property owners, to work out the details of how this property would potentially be developed. And again, all of these petitions that are being considered by you tonight are at the request of the property owners within these 8 parcels. So with that, we can go through these one by one. Item 38 is a 160-acre parcel, and it's located in the area of 41st Street and 6 Mile Road. And that would be the very northwest corner of this group of 8 properties.
Questions of Mike on item 38. Others that wish to address the council on item number 38. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Let's move. Is there a second?
Second, Brown.
Brown seconds. Further comments on that motion?
Mr. Mayor, can we go through these one by one and vote once?
You want to just vote all at once? If that's, is that okay with the council?
Fine.
Okay, let's go. Do you want to defer that motion to? You want to?
Yes, I'll defer that motion.
Brown, what do you say?
Yes.
Okay,
Second.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Item 39, a resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, annexation 2008-0504, Kroll Family Trust, northwest corner of 57th Street and 6 Mile Road.
This is directly south of the previous item, and it's approximately 160 acres in size, and it's adjacent to the north side of 57th Street, East 57th Street.
Questions 39. Others wish to address council 39. Let's go to 40.
A resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, annexation 2008-0505, Kroll northeast corner of 57th Street and 6 Mile Road.
This is about 101 acres directly east of the previous 2 properties.
Questions of Mike on item number 40. Others that wish to address the council on item number 40. Let's go to 41.
A resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, annexation 2008-0506, DVG LLC, at the northeast corner of 6 Mile Road and 57th Street.
This is 14 acres, and it's on the north side of 57th Street, east of 6 Mile Road.
Questions of Mike? Others that wish to address the council on item number 41? Let's go 42.
A resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, annexation 2008-0507, Broyne, 49th Street and 6 Mile Road.
This is 164 acres, and it would be on the north side of East 49th Street and east of 6 Mile Road.
Questions of Mike on item 42? Others that wish to address the council on item 42? Let's go to 43.
A resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, annexation 2008-0508, Nelson, 57th Street and River Bluff Road.
This is 99 acres of land north of 57th Street, adjacent to River Bluff Road.
Questions of Mike on item 43? Others that wish to address the council? Let's go 44.
A resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, annexation 2008-0509, Porter, 57th Street and River Bluff Road.
This is 15 acres north of 57th Street, adjacent to River Bluff Road.
Questions of Mike on item number 44? Others that wish to address the council on item 44? Let's go to 45.
A resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, annexation 2008-0510, RP&P LLC, 57th Street and Big Sioux River.
This is 140 acres, and it's located north of 57th Street and west of the Big Sioux River. And this would be the low end of the annexation that is directly adjacent to the existing lift station.
Questions of Mike on item 45? Others that wish to address the council? Seeing none. Pat?
I was just going to make a motion to approval of items 38 through 45.
Okay, motion made by Costello. Is there a second?
Second,
Let's second it. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of approving items 38 to 45 will vote yes. Go ahead.
Mike, my only question was, is the 853 acres that you've presented to us are all going to be benefited by the east side sewer system, is that correct?
Yes.
So they've all been involved in the conversation, they all want to be annexed, and it appears that this is a progressive step towards the growth of the east side of the community, correct?
That's correct. Yes, that's a very good summary.
Thank you.
Do you want to come up and give your name and Daryl?
Can you put that picture back up there, or the other one? Previous picture? Yeah, all of the landowners in there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 40s in a row right in the middle. Those people are all in favor of this. And then the 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 40s at the top, which is Harboom and Tenkate. There isn't anybody in here that's opposed to any of this. They just weren't ready to come into the city yet because they want to enjoy their property for a few more years without being in the city limits. But everybody that's been involved, other than the other guy tonight, has been in favor of everything we're doing.
I guess I'm...
Excuse me, did you have any more? Okay, go ahead.
I thought, okay, the yellow that we're voting on.
Right.
Everybody, there are 8 property owners only?
Yes.
Okay, they're all absolutely in favor of coming in, okay?
Right.
And then you were talking about some people...
Yeah, everything between... Here,
yeah, just... We need it simple.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't see a light. There it is. Doesn't show up. That one, all the way across there, all of that, all of this, and all of that. All of those people are in favor of coming in the city right now. They will be in the city shortly, within the next couple of years.
And they're dying almost to get here.
Well,
almost.
They're guys that can sit around and wait for the money. But they're all in favor of it because I've met with all of them.
Further questions? We got the maker of the previous motion on 38 has withdrawn, and the first and the second withdrew it. So we're back to the main motion made by Costello and Litz to approve items 38 through 45. Further comments on the motion to approve all of those? Seeing none, all in favor of approving those 38 through 45, I vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
All members present and voted. Items 38 through 45 have been approved. 8-0. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move. Knutson.
Knutson moves. Is there a second?
Second, Jameson.
Jameson seconded. All in favor of that motion to adjourn, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Costello,
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Stand adjourned.